Hi.
Draco, you know how mommy feels about you stealing her spotlight. Can we not? Can we not? Hello guys, if you're brand new to my channel, my name is Nikki, and this is my book nook. Today, we are talking about Half-Blood, which is the first book in the Covenant series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I am a massive fan of the Blood and Ash series. That, when I read From Blood and Ash for the first time, I had a meltdown. That was the best book I had read in 10 years, and A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire was even better. A Crown of Gilded Bones just sent me on an emotional roller coaster. When I finished, I was hurt, I was in pain. I need the next book so badly, but in the meantime, I'm like, I'm gonna read some other stuff by JLA because I just absolutely love her writing. So freaking good. And the series that I was the most interested in, for sure, when I like looked into her more, was the Covenant series. It is, as you can kind of tell from the vibes, has to do with Greek mythology, which is one of my favorite subjects in fantasy. I have like entire shelves of Greek mythology related fantasy books. I love it so much, and I really liked this book. It's very old. I actually didn't realize that. It came out in 2011, I think, for the first time, so literally like 10 years old. I don't know how I missed out on this for so long. This world is very interesting. I felt like this book was a total cross between like Percy Jackson and Shadowhunters. If that interests you, you will love this book. It even actually has like a little bit of a sprinkle of like the Crave series, if you've read that, because there's kind of like a school involved. That's a really good explanation. Like, it's really those three things put together. So interesting, so different, so like unlike anything I've read before. The magic system, or like just this whole world is just fascinating. So if you're familiar with the Percy Jackson series, like in that series, all the kids like at Camp Half-Blood, like they are just direct sons or daughters of the gods, where in this book, it's more like everybody, they're all descendants of the gods. So it talks about how the Greek gods had these original children, and all those children kind of like mated with each other and had more children, and then down the line, like children that have remained pure are like the pure bloods, and they are like direct descendants of the gods, and they have like really striking features, really like bright, vibrant colored eyes, like you can totally recognize them, and they can all control one of the four elements. So like earth, fire, wind, air, like Avatar sort of moment. Kind of cool, just like super different. But then along with these purebloods, there's also obviously half-bloods. So half-bloods are kind of, I mean, just like Harry Potter, right? Looked at as like, you're not pure. Like, they are purebloods that have gone off and mated with like normal mortals. So half-bloods have a lot of the same abilities that purebloods do. Like, they're very strong, they're very fast, but they don't have the control of the elements. They're just not as like prestigious as the purebloods. A lot of them end up being servants. So all of these like descendants of the gods are a part of this group kind of called the Covenant. It's very much like the Institutes and Shadowhunters. Like, there are like 4 base covenants that these people are like housed at, and the covenants themselves are kind of like schools, kind of like academies. Like the children kind of go there and they learn, they train to fight demons. In this book, they're spelled D-A-I-M-O-N, so I literally read it as Damon the whole time. There's a pronunciation guide in the beginning, and it's pronounced demons, but it was so hard to wrap my head around, like I literally couldn't do it. But yeah, they pretty much are responsible for fighting demons, and demons in this book, like, they're basically purebloods that went bad. So all the purebloods and half-bloods have within them, it's called the ether. That's kind of like their power that they got from the gods. And a demon is a pureblood that basically went bad, and they got addicted to ether. So it's literally like a vampire situation. Like, they have like sharp teeth, and they like bite and drink the blood of these descendants of the gods, and it turns them into a demon, and they're kind of become addicted to it, and they're ravenous, and it's very like vampire-esque. So there's like a lot going on in this world. I know it sounds like a lot and sounds confusing, but it's really not. Like, it's pretty simple to understand. But anyways, all of that to kind of explain, this story follows a girl named Alexandria Andros. She goes by Alex. The very beginning of this book, there's actually a novella at the beginning. It's called Demon before Half-Blood starts. It's a little confusing. I feel like she wrote Half-Blood and then realized that like the beginning would maybe be like, I feel like if Demon wasn't in it, I can understand how you'd be very confused trying to like catch up and figure out the events that happened right before this, like that book starts. So I think she just went back and wrote Demon to like make your brain hurt less and like clear it up. But it's literally just consistent story. Like it just follows straight through. There's really no need for the separation technically. Anyways, Alex is a half-blood. Her mother is a pureblood. Her father was obviously a mortal, but he is dead. She doesn't know who he is, never met him. Her and her mother, pretty much 3 years before this book started, ran away from the Covenant. Alex doesn't know why, but completely ran away from the Covenant, her stepfather, and they are just kind of living in the mortal world, much like shadow hunters. And the book pretty much starts with Alex is walking down the street, sees a demon, runs back to her house, and barges in, and the demon is like, basically has killed her mother, is like draining her blood, whatever. So they kind of always had a plan that if something like this happened, like here's a stash with some money and a backpack, whatever, like go. So pretty much Alex ends up going, and you kind of, in the meantime, she's like reminiscing on her time like in the Covenant, and a certain boy, Aiden, that she always kind of knew and had an eye for, and he happens to be a pureblood, which a big aspect of this book is like it is absolutely forbidden for purebloods and half-bloods to have any sort of relationship intermingling, because it's like, yes, it's considered like blasphemous for a pureblood to mate with a mortal, but it's like even more blasphemous for a pureblood to mate with a half-blood, because it's just like, I guess it's just like it's just a waste. Like you're just like, you're messing with the bloodlines. Like they just want to keep the pures pure. So Aiden is a pureblood that she's kind of like reminiscing on. And so anyways, Alex ends up having a run-in with some demons again, and comes bursting through the door is Aiden and a handful of other people from the nearest Covenant. They swoop in to rescue her. Basically, she goes, they take her to the Covenant, and her uncle, her mother's brother, is the dean there. The uncle pretty much decides that like she's going to be a servant. She has obviously not been at the Covenant for 3 years. She's not like up to date on her training. She's gonna go be a servant, and Alex is like, heck no, like I wanna fight, I wanna be a sentinel, like a soldier, like you can't do this. And he's like, no, you're not ready, whatever. And Aiden kind of steps in and volunteers to train her and say like, give her until the end of the semester, I will train her. If she, you know, is ready, then she can be a sentinel. If not, then she goes and be can go be a servant. And the uncle ends up agreeing. So now it's like Aiden and her are having training sessions, and like obviously feelings are gonna be had, tensions are gonna be risen, forbidden romance. And then on the other end, you have this other boy that appears, and he's called the Apollyon, and the Apollyon is like, only one of these exist at a time, but the Apollyon is a half-blood that actually has control over all of the 4 main elements, and the 5th element, which is like the magic of the gods, is called like Kashta. There's a lot going on in this book. Anyways, the Apollyon's name is Seth, and like when Grace sees him, she notices something about him. I don't want to give away spoilers if you're gonna read this and this is like your introduction to the series, but she notices like these markings on him, and when she points it out, people are like, what are you talking about? Like nobody else can see them. So anyways, so this book just altogether, like there's very much like forbidden romance, there's a love triangle, there's like a academia aspect to it, there's like demon hunting, vampire-esque sort of things, just so much wrapped up in one book, and I really thoroughly liked it. Like 4.5 stars out of 5. I'm so excited to read the series. I just feel like it's going to get, like the way that it ended, I'm like, okay, there are 5 books in the series. I'm like, it's just gonna get better from here. I can tell like this was a great introduction, but the next book is gonna like really heat up with the love triangle aspect and everything else that's going on, and I just really liked it. Okay, that was the spoiler-free aspect. I rambled on for so long because this book, like I said, this book and this world have so much going on that it's so hard to explain. But now I just want to give my thoughts. If you guys have read this book, it's been 10 years. I really liked this book. Okay, I thought it started off like a little bit slow, but then like towards the middle, like once Seth showed up, I was really hooked in. I am so conflicted on the love triangle aspect of this book, which never happens. I am always like hardcore one team or the other, but I literally so perfectly like both of the boys. Like this is a thing about me that's like annoying. I cannot be attracted to a blonde guy. Like I don't know what it is. It's just like, it just doesn't do it for me. Even someone that conventionally, like I know you're attractive, but I just like, it just doesn't do it. And so like, I love Seth's personality, like his little sassiness, like the kind of back and forth that they have. Like he's so interesting, and like I love all of his one-liners. Like his personality I'm obsessed with, but just like the way that he's physically described, I'm not into it. But like on the other hand, I'm totally into the way Aiden is described, and like his personality I also like, but he's a bit like, you can tell he's supposed to be just kind of like the puppy dog. I mean, but it's cool. It's so hard because there's normally like a forbidden aspect of a love triangle, and that's the one you want to gravitate towards because it's like scandalous, but like both sides are kind of scandalous. Like I like the forbiddenness of Aiden, but like at the same time his personality is like a little bit vanilla, you know, like he's a little just kind of like straightforward, like good guy, sweet guy, always there for her or whatever. So I'm really excited. Like literally, I don't think I've ever witnessed a love triangle where I genuinely like was invested in both of the relationships. I mean, Twilight, I know Team Edward from the beginning. Like I always wanted her to be with Edward, but like I enjoyed the like Jacob aspects of it. It was kind of scandalous, but anyways, completely unrelated. I'm really excited to keep reading this book. I thought that it was just really an original concept, even though I felt like it combined like a bunch of different concepts. I haven't read anything that's like Greek mythology related that's anything like this. Like I think she did a really good job of creating this whole world, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm gonna pick up the next book as soon as I can, and I will talk to you about that then. I feel like I was like really all over the place with this today. I realized this book is a lot harder to explain than I thought it was in my head, but I think I did a decent job. So if you guys have read Half-Blood, let me know your thoughts. Please don't give any spoilers about the rest of the series, but you know, you can tell me like if there's a certain book that's your favorite that you're like, I should be looking forward to reading. You can tell me that. But yeah, that is it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.